What's going on, everybody? It's Gino. I'm coming at you to break down Vegas 63, coming off of the Oliveira Makachev pay-per-view card. It didn't disappoint. The only thing that disappointed me was I thought Sean O'Malley did not win that fight. But hey, they gave him the decision. It is what it is. I just don't think he's the number one bantamweight either. But whatever. All right. So, anyways. Before I get started, if you have not done so, please hit my channel with a subscribe, hit it with a like, and then leave me a comment on your favorite fighter or fight of this card. And if you don't want to do that, just leave me a letter because it helps the algorithm go. Okay, so first we're going to go into the main event, which is Arnold Allen versus Calvin Kattar. I actually like Allen here. I like him on the money line. I think that there could be a good chance of getting some ownership leverage here because, maybe I'm just overthinking this, but I do hear a lot of experts going towards Kattar. He does have a lot of experience in 5-round fights, which could give him an advantage. He is a respected fighter. He went the distance against Holloway. Now, he was outstruck 445 strikes to 133, which he showed toughness, but he still got outstruck by Holloway significantly. He did lose a split decision loss to Emmett, but that was a split. He has 4 KO, TKO finishes in the UFC. But the one thing I noticed, the trend was as competition steps up, he becomes less and less of a finisher. I don't see this fight going with a finish. The line on the under is not terrible at plus 120, but that it's plus money. I think Allen wins. I think he wins by decision. I think he shows that he can go the distance as well, and he shows that he's a capable fighter at 18-1, and he continues to progress and get better. So Allen is the pick here, but I am going all in on the fight. Max Griffin versus 10 Means. I'm going Max Griffin, and I'm going Max Griffin by decision. Max Griffin's the favorite, minus 190. I like him. He's 3-2 in his last 5. He has a TKO win in round 1 versus Song. He did lose to Alex Oliveira. He did lose to Neil Magny, both by split decisions. If you look on the other side, you do have Tim Means. He was submitted by Daniel Rodriguez. He was submitted by Kevin Holland. He does have control time potential. And he could get it. That could add up, help him get a good decision win, score well at 7,400. I'm investing in both, but it's not my favorite fight. I'm depressing the ownership because even Griffin, I see him winning, but at 8,800, I don't see him paying off that price tag. He averages 85 to 90 fantasy points. This isn't the fight I'm fading, and you'll see the fight I am fading, but I do not love this fight for DraftKings. But if I'm betting, I like Griffin, and I want to see what that price looks like on the decision for him. Jared Vanderaa versus Cortez Acosta. I think Cortez Acosta kills Vanderaa. Vanderaa is not good. He's just not. I was laughing because Paul Shaughnessy put something on his Twitter today. He was talking about how I forgot what he said, but it was like, how could you be this disappointing or something like that about Vanderaa? And I thought the same thing watching him. I just don't think he's good. I think even if somehow he wins, he won't score well in DraftKings. He has a 43% strike defense. He has just been getting murdered by dudes. He's finished 3 times. Sherman, Oleinik, Romanov. Romanov's the only one that I can say, okay, I get you getting finished by him, but Oleinik, Sherman, no. And I think Cortez Acosta is on the rise. I think that he was going to smash him here. I think that Vandeera's getting fed to Acosta, and I like that. He's $9,000. He has 5 finishes in the UFC, and I could see him getting a first-round finish here against Vanderaa. We have Frem versus Gore. I am going to invest in both, but my lean is going to be towards Frem. If you look at Gore, he's 0-2 in the UFC, but I think he's fighting for his job in this spot, and when guys do that, they come out guns blazing, so he could come out guns blazing and get a finish. But what I think really happens is Frem goes ahead and finishes Gore, probably puts an end on Gore's UFC career. He's minus 150. He was taken down 8 times in a decision loss versus Hernandez, but I don't see Gore really being a threat there. He does have a 32% strike defense, which is why I kind of like the idea of if Gore just lets it all go, I mean, he could come out there and take advantage of that and get himself a KO TKO. Now, the one thing about Fremd is 7 of his 9 wins have been by submission, KO, or TKO. So I think he's good. I think he's pretty good. I think he's getting better, and I do think he beats Gore. He did lose to Greg Rodriguez and LFA round 1 TKO, but since then he has continued to get better. Khalil Roundtree versus Dustin Jacoby. I am going Jacoby, okay? I like Jacoby. He has not lost an MMA match since 2014. Now, he's got a lot of different like boxing and stuff that he's done, and he has lost in some of those. He has little to no takedown upside. He scores between 90 to 120 fantasy points in his wins. He can get higher volume on the striking in a decision with knockdown potential and score well at 8,300. If you look on the other side of it, you have Khalil Roundtree. He's plus 145. He's $7,900. He's finished in the UFC 3 times. He over his last 4, he's 2-2. He's a low volume, powerful finisher, so I like the idea of him getting a finish here. You get a quick finish here. He has 2 KO wins in a row. Roberson round 2, Bukauskas round 2. He's definitely a dog I like, and he can score well in a decision or a finish as he can generate knockdowns as well with that power, generate some strikes, maybe some control time, and score well at 7,900. With that being said, I'm going all in on the fight. My lean's towards Jacoby because I do like the favorite in this spot, but I love this fight for DraftKings because of the price points from guys. Phil Hawes versus Roman Dolidze. Okay, I'm going with the dog Roman Dolidze. I mean, maybe I'm just biased against Phil Hawes, but I just don't think he's that great. I don't think he's deserving of a minus 170 price tag. I could, like I said, could be wrong, but 3 of his 5 wins are by KO or TKO in the UFC. He had 118 strikes in his TKO win against Deron Wynn. He has shown his ability to get some takedowns, but not that much. Now, he does have losses to Action Man Chris Curtis. He also, Julian Marquez, they both got finishes against him. If you look on the other side of it, Dolidze, he's powerful. He's low volume, but he's got a 64% strike defense, so he can kind of, I think he'll be able to defend against a Hawes. He is 10-1, so he's like, he's right there on the guy, like on the cusp of really being on the rise here. He's explosive. He has 2 to 4 takedowns potential. He scores between 90 and 110 on DraftKings, and I do like him at 7,800. This is another fight I like a lot. I'm not going to pull the all-in button, but I love the dog here. I love Dolidze. I think that Dolidze could win. He's not my favorite dog, but I do like him a lot. All right, we have Arlovsky versus Rogerio de Lima. Okay, so here's what I'm doing here. I do think De Lima wins. I think he's the rightful favorite, but I'm fading the fight. I don't think either guy scores well. I think even if De Lima gets a finish, I don't see it happening in round 1. The over 2.5 is minus 140, so that makes me think this will probably go to decision. I don't think guys possess the volume to really make a score that's worth it. So with both fighters, I'm fading them in DraftKings, but I am picking De Lima to win the fight. All right, now we have Young Park versus Joseph Holmes. It's just like my thing. And I've back tested it across with the optimizer that we have on DFS Army. Check that out. We have it for pretty much every sport that you can think of, and been crushing it in NFL. We actually got a millionaire crown this year from a member, not a person that is one of the main guys like Geek or Bobby Wow, which they've won too, but we had a member, just a regular member, win $1 million using our cheat sheets, using our domination station. Anyways, back to this. Also subscribe to my channel and like this video if you haven't done that yet. If you haven't, you suck. I'm just kidding. That was mean. But I would appreciate it if you did like the video. Thank you. Anyways, so you have Young Park. He is more of a decision machine. I do think he's in a smash spot here against Holmes. He could get typo there, put tone, but a ton of takedowns, land strikes, and accumulate control time. His price on DK could scare people off, so I like him at 9,300. I do think he's the rightful favorite, and I think he gets the win here. So I think this is a nice spot for ownership leverage, and it's going to be park or pass here. Steve Garcia versus Chase Hooper. I'm going Hooper KO TKO. I do like Hooper here. He has 5 finishes in his last 5 wins. I think he keeps that trend going. He's fighting a Steve Garcia who's 2-2 in his last 4. He has 2 TKO wins in the UFC. The under 2.5 is minus 150. So I'm going to invest in both guys. I like the idea of guys getting finishes. One of these guys getting a finish. If you look over at Hooper, he scored 142 fantasy points against Calares. If you go back and watch what he did, I mean, he got control time, he got takedowns, he got knockdowns. I mean, he did pretty much literally everything you could do to score well in DraftKings. And I think that he'll volume, control time, takedown here, and get a good score at 9,200. He's one of my favorite fighters on the card. But I'm not going to not invest in Garcia, just not going to go crazy with it. Cody Durden versus Carlos Mota. My favorite dog. Cody Durden. I love him. I love him this week. I think he's going to get a finish here. The under 2.5 is minus 145. He's low volume striking. He's 2-2 in his last 4. He does have a takedown upside. He has a KO win versus JP Buys. He is more than likely he will score well in a win. And then he also scored 93.2 fantasy points in DraftKings in his decision win against Orichi Lang at 7,700. That could be enough to get him in the optimal, but I do think he scores over 100 in this spot if he wins. You have Mota, who's minus 165. He has a TKO loss in round 5 versus Charles Johnson. I don't care what that was. I just don't love that. I mean, Charles Johnson's all right, but I think that tells me he's susceptible to catching the L versus Durden. I think Durden is much better than Charles Jordan is. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit, but that's just what I think. He is strong and powerful, but he's fighting a competent opponent in Cody Durden. He will score well for his price point, though. So I'm going heavy on this fight. My lean is towards the dog. I like the dog. It is what it is. Durden's one of my favorites. Okay, guys, hey, I appreciate it. Thank you for hanging in with me. If you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up in the Discord on DFS Army. If you're not a part, come join us. The link is in the description. I appreciate everybody. Thank you for the support, and good luck this weekend.